Well, Marco, thank you for coming on the red carpet round table.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to get into it. I'm excited to
You're
join.
very welcome. Let's get started. What made you get into the entertainment industry?
Uh, for me, it was something that I always wanted to do since I was little. Short answer, just be Power Rangers. I would go to school, come home, and just watch Power Rangers, and I was like, man, I want to do that so bad, you know. Of course, not knowing it was fake back then, I thought they were out there really doing it, you know. But that's kind of where it started. But my parents wanted me to focus on sports and academics and stuff like that. But I would do like a Christmas play for the school here and there and just like love it, you know. But it wasn't until later in life when I decided to fully dive into it. Yeah.
That's amazing. And of course, you did a lot of work. So,
Thank you.
um, let's dig into it. You play a lot of Indian roles,
Yeah.
and you have done so many roles. So I don't know where to start off from, to be honest. So,
Pick
um,
one.
so you did The Sun, that was in 2019, and you
Yeah.
were in episode two and in I mean, not episode two, season two, and episode three, four, and five.
Yeah.
Uh, and how was it like being on set on that? And go from there because I know there's a couple other scenes I'm going to talk about as well. So the floor is yours.
Okay. Yeah, the sun. That was a crazy experience. I actually read for a small role in season one, just like randomly. I was in Austin, Texas, and I just happened to be by. I think it was called the Red Studios in Austin at that time. And Beth Sepko, the casting director, we had a mutual friend, so she's like, "Oh, can you come in and just read this quick line?" Actually, I don't think there's any dialogue. It was just kind of like there's a snake passing by, so the character just kind of goes like this, and that was it. I didn't book it, and then second season comes around, and then I get an audition for Scalp the Dog, and that was interesting because originally it was only supposed to have like one line, one scene, one episode. That was it. But the audition sides for that character, it was 3 pages, all in Comanche. And I don't know what had been going on that week, but I guess every other actor that was coming in couldn't get past like the first couple paragraphs or page. And I was just hammering that script or those sides like crazy. And so I walk into the room and she's like, we can just do the first page. It's okay. You know, I know it's 3 pages. Let's just do the first page. And that's when I was like, no, no, no. I was like, I want to do all 3 pages. And she had this like frightened look in her face. She's like, okay, man, you do what you want. And I did it, and she loved it and ended up booking it. But until I got to set that first night, I thought I was still just one scene, one episode. And I was in the transpo van on the way to set in Austin, Texas, and a couple of my castmates were like, "Oh, congrats, man! Like we heard they expanded your role, and you're gonna be with us a little bit longer." And I was like, "Really? No one told me at all." And it was a joy. But that was like my first larger role on cable TV, and just working with like Jacob Laughlin and Catherine Prescott and Glenn Stanton and just all these guys was crazy. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I've seen it, and you were absolutely amazing.
Thank
Um,
you.
and of course, you did one. I think it's American Primeville.
Oh, Primeval, yeah.
Thank you. And was I believe that was filmed somewhere in Oklahoma. Is that correct?
That one was in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes. And I
No, it's
know there
fun.
was one that you did one in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
We'll get to that. And that one, of course, you worked with, Betty Griplin, and of course, the name goes on. And so, how was
yeah.
it like working with all these actors that, they've done, if you mind me, they've done so many more bigger sets and
Yeah.
how did it feel? Because I know a lot of actors, being on set who worked with a lot of big, and I'm just going to say celebrities who've been
Yeah.
on films and big TV shows already, and being on set with them, did you feel nervous? Like, oh my goodness, I got to get my role correctly. I can't make a mistake. Or did you felt like, okay, I got this. I don't know if you mind me saying that.
No, I think like no. I mean, it's a good question because I think I got most of my nerves out, like definitely on the sun because they handed me a lot, and I just had basically zero idea what I was doing, just kind of flown with it. And then I had done some other projects that just quick scenes here or there. But I worked with Christoph Waltz on Dead for a Dollar for like 2 hours, and then I worked on the Suicide Squad for a few weeks with Margot Robbie and Joel Kinnaman and all them. So I think by the time I got to American Primeval, I was kind of not desensitized, but I was a little more, comfortable in my own skin and kind of own my identity and just my method of preparing for a role in a project.
Mhm.
And I remember, again, I didn't know how long I was going to be out in New Mexico or Santa Fe.
Yeah.
So they fly me out there, and I remember before I got out there, one of my buddies, Jeremy Guana, he's like, "Oh, you're signed up for cowboy camp." And so I'm learning all these things just like as I'm going again. That seems to be like the trend in my career. I have no idea what I'm doing, and then everyone's just giving me information. And so I'm in cowboy camp for a month and a half, so have like no clue what's going to happen, how we're going to film this thing. But yeah, I know Taylor Kitsch was on it, Betty Gilpin, Jai Courtney, just Dane DeHaan, all these guys. Um, but we're in cowboy camp together, and it was amazing. Everyone's just so welcoming and so supportive. And there's some stuff to do in Santa Fe, but not too much. And when we go to cowboy camp, it'd only be for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. So we were all kind of staying in the same hotel or the same area. So we go out to eat, we go hang out, like shoot pool, go bowling, stuff like that. So we kind of, we had a connection and a relationship before we started filming. So I think that helped too with the nerves. But on a set like that, there's so much going on with like, I don't, have you seen that episode or have you seen the series?
I've seen a couple of series. Please forgive me. I haven't finished watching, but yes, I've seen a lot that you've been in, and to be honest, there has been so many. Um, I love. I'm just gonna say it. I love Native American films, Native American TV shows. I love the history. I love the culture, and I love
Mm.
what's going on. So to answer your question, I've seen you in so many, but I can't catch. I mean, to anybody who's watching this, I can't catch up. There's this one, and then there's this one, and there's this one. It's like now there's a brand new season coming out, and you're like, ah, and then you're like, okay, I gotta binge watch all of them. So no, to answer your question, I've seen some but not all of it. Please forgive me, everybody.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But definitely give American Primeval a watch. It's just, I mean, it's so well shot, so well written, just amazing talent on both sides of the camera. But there's this huge massacre scene in episode one, and there's just so many moving parts to it where there's just so much going on at all times, and you're just out in the elements. Like we're in some remote area at the base of some mountain, 45 minutes outside of Santa Fe, and I'm focused on my dialogue, which I was speaking Paiute or Shoshone. That you sink so much into that you're not worried about like, oh crap, Pete Berg's on the other side of this camera just watching me, and then you got Taylor Kitsch over here and Betty Gilpin running around. Um, but again, it was just a welcoming set, so
That's
warm,
amazing. Well,
so
congratulations.
thank you.
And you were absolutely amazing. I've seen it, and it's just the shows how they talk about the history
Yeah,
because I actually me personally, maybe not many people do this, but I actually Google it and try
yeah,
to find I do because
research.
I like to find history and learn history because we don't learn about it, no
Mhm.
offense, we don't hear about it unless we watch films like, you're in it or other actors who are in it to talk about stories that this happened across the United States. You're like, oh wow, this is what happened. You're like, okay, now I understand. And they at the end they say this is, true story, this is what happened. You're like, wow. And to me, it's like I'm learning so much. And that's what I appreciate you and all the actors and especially Native American actors out there talking about Native American culture. And I love Native American culture as well.
Mm.
Because to me is like, I don't know much about it, so it means a lot.
Yeah.
Now the one I did watch a little bit of it was 2005, and it really kind of got me. It was the Sarah oil. Um,
Seriously.
Yes, Sarah's
Yeah.
Oil. That was filmed in Oklahoma with Bridget Reagan. By the way, I saw on your Instagram you took a picture with her, and Zachary Levi. Congratulations! And that one kind of got me, and I shared a little bit of tears because it was there was some scene on there was kind of intense, and it was so interesting about the Oklahoma Territory that happened in the 1900s that we don't here, and it's I feel like that I wish we hear about it. And it's so when you are so dug deep into, and you just your hair stick up and your body just you get into, I don't know how to describe it, in like a spiritual mode, for me to say it. Like, you are like, wow, this is what's happening. Like,
Mhm.
and then you are like, that you just pause for a minute, and you're like, wow, this actually happened. And then they're like, and to me, it's like, it's mind blowing to me that that right there, that the one you did with Bridget Reagan. Congratulations working with her, and I'm going to ask you, how is it like working with her? You took a picture with her, and she's been in so many films. But I just want to say that that right there was you. Everything you've been in, especially that one, is phenomenal. So
Thank
keep
you.
up the great work. I know I'm so proud of you. But how was it working with Richard Reagan?
I was just, I mean, it's like, I always call these types of projects like fever dreams, because it's like, it's so, I mean, growing up in Oklahoma City, it's like, you never know, you have dreams, you want to aspire to these dreams, you want to reach these dreams. But once you're actually there, it's like, I feel like I literally am dreaming. It's a fever dream. But that was another one. I was so excited to be back in my home state. We were in Tulsa and Bartlesville. It was outside of OKC, but yeah, I mean, just meeting and hanging out with Bridget, Sonequa Martin Green, Henrik, Mel Rodriguez, Zach Levy, Naya Desir Johnson, Stelio, Vic, Selassie. It was just everybody. It was a strong like family bond. Everyone supported each other, and Bridget, in particular, just how she is on set is she's just so cool. I remember there's a scene at the end of the movie where we're all celebrating Sarah's big oil explosion, and we're all having a party out there playing music and dancing, and in between setups, Bridget's out there with everybody just kind of playing games with the kids. What's your favorite cake? Let me guess. Just keeping the energy high, the vibes high, and it was just I loved it because especially working with actors like her and then everyone else, you learn so much of
Hmm.
how to carry yourself on set and just kind of like that energy that you need to bring to set, and just remember to have fun because we're so blessed to be there.
Amen.
It takes a lot of work to get there, and it's just enjoying it while you're there is the biggest part,
Hmm.
biggest component to it.
And you're showing it too. You are showing it. It's showing the hard work. You there's been many times, maybe you can say it, but for you to say, you know what, I want to give up. I don't know, you know. So let's talk about that as for a moment. Has there ever been a career in your life? Maybe now if you're experiencing it, maybe I'm not, but has there ever been a moment in your life in this career, because I'm speaking for a lot of younger actors out there, especially who may be watching you, be thinking, you know, why I'm doing all these auditions, I'm having this up and down roller coaster, I'm done, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you get a role and like, okay, I'm gonna keep going, and then you're like, oh my gosh, why am I not getting any more roles? Am I not, is this not for me anymore? So for you, like, what was your experience, and what really motivated you to keep going and still going?
How much time do you have for this? Because I mean, there's, and I think with you talk to everybody, it's gonna happen to everybody at some point and multiple times in their career. I mean, that's happened so much for me. It's like it's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but I think you do have to have a true passion for this industry and any industry that anyone decides to pursue. Um, but I think in those difficult moments where, I'm throwing my own pity party saying, okay, why aren't they picking me? Why am I not getting called in for these auditions? You have to define what success means to you. And success isn't always, okay, I got the role. Yes, success. You have to redefine it. And it can be small things like, okay, so I got some headshots done. I like these. That's a little check. I'm in class. I felt good about that class I took. That's a little check. So just kind of just redefining it for yourself and framing it differently for yourself is just huge. But also a main theme I think with most actors is goal displacement. So even if you do get that big project or even a small role on a large project, when that project comes out, you are expecting more offers to come in, more auditions to come in, some recognition to some degree. And if you don't get that, you feel like you might feel like you failed, And I know that's happened to me quite a bit again. But it's just redefining it and just trusting yourself, trusting the process, the journey, having faith, but also not making it your whole life too. So finding balance with spending time with friends and family and living life. Because the more life you live, you can pour back into your art and that passion.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I totally understand where you're coming from, and thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate that.
Of
I want
course.
to dig into how do you approach representing your Choctaw nation or identity on screen?
It depends on the role. And I know with Sarah's Oil, when I first got that, well, I read for, what did I read for? Horace. He was one of the goons for Devon in the movie. And so I sent that audition in, and then the director contacted my agent and said that, yeah, we like him, but we want to read him for this other role. And the other role was Jimsy, but originally it was called Dark Heart or something, and it was supposed to be a Choctaw lawman. So I was like, oh, here we go. My culture, my heritage. And then they rewrote it to Muskogee Creek and changed the name. But so when I got to set, I met some stunt performers who were Muskogee Creek, and I approached them with all respect, and just had a conversation with them, got to know them. Actually, James Whitecloud was one of the stunt performers. I hung out with him with his family in Old Mulgee. They took me to like a backyard barbecue and stuff like that. And I think it's going in with a lot of respect for that nation because it's not yours. And whenever you're representing that nation on screen, you want to do it right. So if it's something where it's non-English speaking, so you're speaking that nation's language, getting or seeking out those individuals that know that language, working with them on
Hmm.
it. For example, American Primeval, the actor who plays Red Feather, Derek Hinkey, he's Paiute and Shoshone, and I was playing the Paiute chief in that. And I remember I was meeting with him on the weekends before we started filming that scene just to make sure I had the language down right and just wanting to learn more about the culture and the history. And that's kind of how it is for me whenever I take on, like I said, a different nation. And yeah, just going with respect and just wanting to learn more to honor it.
Hmm. It's amazing. And what changes have you seen on a Native American representation on film and TV shows, if you mind me, over time, if you mind me asking?
I mean, from where it started to where it is now, and kind of where we hope to see it go. I mean, there's improvements for sure. I feel like there's a long way to go. Definitely, I'm a member of the Television Academy, and I'm part of the Indigenous Affinity Group. And we had a meeting a few weeks ago, And the Academy had put out some statistics, and Indigenous representation in TV is less than like 0.1%. Yes, not great.
To be
But we,
honest, I didn't think that low. Wow.
oh,
I'm
I
not
didn't
trying
either.
to laugh about or smile about it. I'm just kind of in shock because to me, I thought it would be a little higher. So when you just said that, it blows my mind because I really didn't think that. I'm just being honest. So I didn't mean to cut you
Oh,
off. Please
I didn't
continue.
either. No, you're fine. Because I didn't either. I was sitting in the Zoom. I was like, no way. That's news to me. Because we've like I said, we've had a lot of talented people on each side of the camera. So Zon McLaren on Dark Winds, he's executive producing, he's directing. We're getting more Indigenous writers. We're getting more actors and producers. So the needle is moving forward, but there's just a way to go, and just it's I guess I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to put it in a very kind, polite way. But so some feedback that I've heard from producers or executives is, oh, they just don't know a lot about it. They don't know a lot about
Hmm.
Native culture and history, which okay, but
Right,
uh,
right.
yeah, I mean, we don't have to get into it.
I understand. Um, in the one thing about Native American films, it's I love it because I like the old traditional kind of Native American films when they no offense to anybody out there, but I like it when they show them sitting down around the tent at night or during the daytime and they're actually singing the songs or
Oh yeah,
teaching the culture, and that to me is I love so much. And they talk about the stars or the moon and all this stuff, and to me it's like wow, that's so cool. And and I just love hearing that. And that's why I love that they're, I hope and they keep continuing to represent the Native American culture and the films and actors out there in the film industry, and you're part of it. So I'm so proud of you. Please keep it up.
thank you.
Um, Now I know you're from Oklahoma and Choctaw's here.
Yeah.
What is your advice for a lot of young women and boys who are in, I'm just going to say this out there, Choctaw Nation or any Native American who are watching, who are following you or following any Native Americans out there and just saying, I want to be like Marka Muller, I mean not Muller, Furler, to be a actor and get out there. So what is your advice for a lot of young actors out there? I mean, or upcoming actors who want to do what you're doing?
Yeah. First, just name I would say would be Angelique Bed Thunder. She's a cast director, and she's created a lot of opportunities for Native actors. Renee Haynes also. She They have a website or Instagram, Bid Thunder Casting Calls, and then they're always posting things on that. And then they're not always looking for established actors. Sometimes they want fresh, raw talent. That's one good source to go to. But also plug into the community, because I know Choctaw Nation in particular, they make commercials and they're trying to build up their film department there. And same thing with like Chickasaw Nation and stuff like that. Cherokee Film Commission.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Quick Google searches, and I always say too on set, like for Sarah's Oil, for example, um, there's one scene where we're on the Muskogee Creek Reservation, and we had a lot of Native relatives out on set that day, and I spent time with them like in between takes. I would just go hang out with them, just talk to them. And when we went back to base camp, I was sitting outside my trailer door with my door open, just like inviting anyone to come talk to me. And then if no one wanted to come talk to me, I'd go jump in the extras holding tent, just go mingle and stuff. But I'd always say, just feel free to send me a message on Instagram if you need any advice, or I can point you in the right direction, stuff like that. Because I think it's really about, you know, you want to create more seats at the table, and once you have a seat there, you want to open up more space for everyone else. So it's uh, just trying to have that open door policy, you know. So it's
Right.
I don't know.
For
There's a
sure.
lot of actors like that too. Just message somebody, you know. Everyone's all willing to help out.
Mhm.
Just give advice.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's so true. Thank you for sharing that. And then, you grew up in Oklahoma and you wanted to be and why growing up in sorry, correction, tongue twisting. Why growing up in Oklahoma, what really I want to dig into your brain here for a minute. What
Okay.
really made you say, you know what? I want to be an actor. What made you decide to go that path? Like, I'm just want to dig in here because Oklahoma. I'm just saying.
How
I'm
did that happen?
I'm just gonna be blunt. This sounds horrible. Forgive me, Oklahoma people. It's
Everybody's
boring.
listening.
It's flat.
405 scared.
Yes, sorry, Oklahoma. Okay, please forgive me, Oklahoma. We're both from Oklahoma, so please forgive us, especially me. But it's boring and it's flat. So please, okay, seriously, please explain what really made you go that path. Like what triggered it? Like what motivated it? I'm just really curious.
I mean, short answer, you just kind of hit the nail on the head there. It is, there wasn't too much to do, and I wanted to get out. That was just very short. I wanted to run away, man.
Everybody, he said it, not me. There you go.
I mean, you travel once outside of Oklahoma, you're like, oh my God, there's more life here, you know? So it's just, I mean, and I say that jokingly, of course, kind of 50%. But, you know, I played in these bands in high school and stuff like that. And I was like, I would go to like the Vans Warped Tour, like music festivals like that, and I would just think, oh, how amazing it would be just to go on the road, go to all these
Mhm.
different cities and meet all these people and just perform in front of all these people. And so when that didn't really pan out with music, um, I kind of, you know, refocused all my concentration on school and, you know,
Mhm.
college. And so for a moment, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do the Oklahoma thing. I'm gonna go pre med, just focus on that. And so I kind of had like, you know, these blinders on. But it was I was 20 years old, and around that time, my father passed away.
I'm so sorry
And
to hear that.
it's okay. Um, but so around that time, that's, you know, I started just thinking about life, you know, and what I really wanted to do, what my purpose was.
Hmm.
And my dad, he was my biggest supporter, and just anything I wanted to do, he was right behind me, just cheering me on. And so that's when I started thinking, like, okay, what did I like to do when I was a kid? What was that dream I had as a kid? You know, because life's short. And thought back to Power Rangers, and I was like, that's, you know, I'm gonna explore that. And at that time, my brother and his family moved out to California. I spent a summer with them, and I was like, you know what? What do I have to lose? So I'm gonna go check this out. I'm gonna try to find some auditions. Found some auditions, bombed the hell out of those auditions.
And then here
But
you are.
here I am. I made my way to a set as a background actor for like a day, and on that set in particular, I met Louis Mandler. He played, he was Nicky, the brother from My Big Fat Greek Wedding, if you ever saw that. And I remember having a conversation with him for like 30 minutes, and I was just like, this is amazing. I love sets. And so I was like, okay, what do I have to lose? I'm going to go explore this and figure it out. So that's what really sparked it for me.
Well, congratulations, and I know your dad would be proud of you. Um, that's a wonderful story. Um, were there any Choctaw Nation in Oklahoma or community programs that helped you influence your journey?
Not directly, because I just I didn't know where to look. And, you know, back then I think I was finding some auditions like on Craigslist before I got in, which, you know, especially back then, and that was a that was a gamble. But so I found some like a Mathis. You remember Mathis Brothers
Mathis, but yes.
furniture? Mathis Brothers furniture, yeah. So one of my first jobs was working on a Mathis Brothers furniture commercial. I found that on Craigslist, I think, and self-submitted to that, paid me $35. I was the happiest guy in Oklahoma that day, I swear.
That's
And
amazing.
I
That's
got an
awesome.
agent. That was crazy.
Wow.
But so then I started working and I started meeting more native actors, and then I learned about like Sundance Institute. Um, I mean, later on, but they have resources there. They have programs there to develop talent on both sides of the camera, and then also the Red Nation Celebration Institute, led by Janelle Romero. They have the Red Nation Film Festival, and again, they have these programs to develop Native talent. Those are organizations that I wish I knew about back then before I stumbled into Craigslist because black hole man. But so those were the two that I didn't utilize then, but I would now if I was just starting out.
Right. I totally
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
Um, any upcoming projects that you're allowed to talk about?
Yeah, I have one. It's called People of the West. It's a 10-part docu-series on the indigenous peoples of California. So it's going to cover the entire history from the time all the colonizers came over to like the 1960s with the American Indian movement to current day affairs. And that's gonna be a great project. Just the way that it was filmed cinematically is gonna be amazing. The interviews that they're able to get for that project too, it's gonna be great. I actually filmed that in Mexico City, and that was just wild because it was supposed to work in Los Angeles, and we ended up working in Mexico City. So I was there for like a few days,
How was
and
Mexico City, if you mind me asking?
oh yeah, no, that was my first time there, and I went from my hotel to set, and that was basically my routine. But the crew members down there were just amazing. I remember I don't know if any other actors you've had on here have talked about Crafty, and like the breakfasts and lunches. But my first thing I do when I go to set is just find the Crafty, make friends, and I just sit there until I'm on set. And I'm the first one in line for food for like breakfast and lunch. So I remember pulling up my first day and I go get some breakfast and I was like, oh, I want some huevos con tocino, like eggs and bacon. And they're like, bacon? I'm like, yeah, huevos con tocino. And they're like, we have chorizo. And I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, some chorizo. And then they're
What's
like, yeah,
that, if you mind me asking?
chorizo? It's like a sausage.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
If you gotta try it, man. It's so good. Um, but yeah, just if you go to Mexico City, don't ask them for bacon because they're gonna. But they're great. I felt like I was just around like family down there with like again cast and crew and everybody. And then I went to set and they had this cool. It was on a sound stage, and they had this huge screen. It was like a projector screen, and they could change everything in the projector screen. So my background was like a Spanish mission from like way back when the 1600s, 1700s, and so the whole thing with that scene was me and my guys were lighting that mission up. So we're throwing hot coals at it, and it's burning down to the ground. So they could change like the time of day it was. They could move clouds around. They could move flames around. All this stuff. And that was the first time I saw something like that, and I was just like, "Wow, this is insane." And so I was working with like 15 stunt performers and background actors, and it was incredible.
That's
They
amazing.
No, it was insane. They had this one bit where we're all in the middle of this battle and everyone's running around killing everybody, all this stuff, and so I see them kind of block out the scene so everyone knows their route, where they're going to go, what's going to happen. So I'm kind of standing off to the side just with my arms crossed. I'm like, this is incredible. And then the director's like, okay, jump in. I'm like, what do you mean jump in? 5 seconds before they start filming the actual take, he's like, yeah, go jump in. I'm like, what do I do? He's like, don't try to get hit. So I'm like, okay, fair. And it was a cool experience. It was just
So you
crazy.
jumped in and you just trying not to get it.
Try not to get hit. It was just like people running every which direction, and then I didn't know where the camera was. And at one point, the director's like, Marco, find the camera, camera, find Marco. And it was just like, in my head, I'm like, this is so epic. I feel like I'm in like Braveheart right now. Like, I gotta find the camera. And that was incredible. It was
And the
just such
camera person's like, "Find Marco."
yeah, exactly. So you have like the camera operator and the guy behind him just like literally trying to
They're like, "Oh, there's Marco. Okay, go, go."
it was cool, man. It was just luckily no one got injured somehow, and yeah, it was incredible, and I'm just excited for everyone to see that. Like the the large scope, just the whole series in general, the history of the indigenous people of California, but I guess also that scene too when they see that
That's
little battle scene.
absolutely amazing. That's so funny. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was
Um,
good.
well, I gotta ask, do you, how is the film industry in the state that we both know of, Oklahoma, how do you feel? Is it, slowly growing? Because a lot of film industries are growing in other places now. And what do you see what's happening in Oklahoma City? And me personally, I feel like it's growing, but I want to hear from you as well. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious, what are you seeing?
No, it definitely is growing. I think with projects like Lowdown is filming season 2 right now. We had Reservation Dogs over there, uh, a bunch of stuff. Stairs Oil, obviously, and that was the first time Amazon MGM was filming anything in Oklahoma. So I think those are really good indicators that it's growing and it's headed in a great direction. And I think because of the state incentives, it's going to bring more productions to Oklahoma. And I can't wait to get back there. I want to work in Oklahoma again, but hopefully next time in Oklahoma City so I can hang out with my friends. Uh, but yeah, no, I think they're doing great and they're going to be just fine. Because again, another statistic I heard out of LA is some productions down 70% roughly in Los Angeles. So
And
that's why I think
if you
yeah.
mind me asking a question, is why do you believe it's down 70%? And do you believe it's going to increase?
Um, I think it's going to get better because there's new state incentives again, and these rebate programs, so that incentivizes productions to go to that state. But with Los Angeles again, I don't want to be the spokesperson for the state, but it's expensive to make things out here. So, for example, with people of the West, that's why it got kicked out to Mexico City because it was cheaper to fly everyone down there, work on a sound stage, and then flying back than filming here. So, um, but I do again wishful thinking. I'm hopeful. I'm trying to stay positive that yes, it will get better. We will work in LA again. So,
Yes, I
you know,
also believe it'll get better.
yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Marco, it's been an exciting moment to speak with you, and I appreciate you coming on and letting me interview you. And I'm so proud we both love Oklahoma City, and when we want to grow and let it keep going. And so, Marco, I'm so proud of you that you are representing the Choctaw Nation.
Thank you.
Um, and I'm just curious, is there anything you can teach me history-wise about the Choctaw Nation? I'm really curious. I love Native American culture. What's something that a lot of people don't know?
I feel like we're one of the 5 civilized tribes. I'm sure you knew that. You learned that in school, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. What's something else? Damn, you really put me on the spot.
Sorry.
Okay, so no, it's fine. I got an interesting one right here. So in World War I, they had the Choctaw Code Talkers, and so to make sure that enemy armies weren't picking up messages from the United States, we had code talkers, and they were using the Choctaw language for that in World War I. World War II, they used the Navajo language for that. So Choctaw code talkers took on World War I. Yeah.
That's so cool. That's
Yeah.
amazing history. But thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to have you back and talk about your next upcoming movies or TV shows that you're going to be in.
Oh yeah, I'd love to come back. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I really mean it. Thank you. I really cannot wait to speak with you again. And
Yeah.
thank you for following me on Instagram. And let's continue to support each other. So thank you again.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. This is fun.
I do appreciate it. So we got to support each other, in
Yeah.
this entertainment industry. We're a family,
Mm.
and it's like it doesn't matter what state we're living in, and we just it's to me you sometimes maybe you've noticed as well. You get on Instagram and you see other actors or directors posting things on there and say, "Hey, I'm looking for anybody who wants this role," or "This is coming out," or this. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I can audition for this role, or hey, I can do that. And that's how, to me, it's so encouraging that other actors can find work through Instagram and they're like, oh, I know this person became because they came to audition in this state or they live here or hey, they came here and I didn't, they didn't get the role, but hey, if you're looking for somebody, hey, contact Marco or contact this person. It's like, okay, and
Yeah.
you'd be surprised because later on you'd be like, who told you about me? And they're like, oh, this person. Oh, okay. It's
That's
so
how.
encouraging. It really is so encouraging. It's like it motivates you, any actors out there, not to give up. So
Yeah. I mean, that's always gonna be the main thing that I'll preach till I die. It's literally just do not stop, never stop. It's you're gonna hit that point where you're just like, I want to give up. Don't. And that's the thing with this industry. And for me on my journey, it's like those moments where I hit that point of quitting. It pulls me back in. It's like I have zero control over this. It's gonna pull you back. You're gonna stay in it. Just do not stop. That's
that
it.
is true,
Yeah.
100%. So, well, thank you again. I look forward to speaking with you again soon. We'll stay connected, and I will definitely have you back sometime soon.
Yes, sir. I'm excited.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you again, Marco, and you have a good day and a good evening. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.